What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000. We hope you guys can help us get there. Alright, so, American Gods Season 3 finale gave a huge hint about Mr. World's identity. Now, for those of y'all who have read the books, you probably know the route that they're going to go. Probably know. I know. So this is going to be maybe a little bit of a spoiler video. So if y'all don't really want to hear exactly what is going to go on, or at least not what went on in the books, probably need to turn off right now, because I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe what I think about the show, about Mr. World's identity on the series, and what it was in the books. So, fair warning, guys. Let me just go ahead and read y'all this, because I thought this was really interesting. It says, the final episode of American Gods Season 3 dropped a major clue towards the real identity of Mr. World. While the series has been dropping hints since the beginning that the mysterious leader of the New Gods was hiding something from even his most devout followers, it became even more brazen in teasing his treacherous nature over the course of Season 3. Reportedly, the spirit of globalization, Mr. World typically manifested as a slender man in a business suit, who played Crispin Glover, while he was generally content to try and recruit the old gods to his side. Mr. World seemed to harbor a special hatred for Mr. Wednesday, an incarnation of Odin. American Gods Season 3 found Mr. World manipulating events so that he could convince Laura Moon, who had her own grudge against Wednesday, to act as his assassin, while still offering himself and the rest of the New Gods plausible deniability as to being involved. Over the course of American Gods Season 3, as he continued developing an organization app called Shard that would increase the power of the New Gods, Mr. World began to manifest in new forms. At one point, he took on the appearance of a stunningly beautiful Tobaganian American woman, Dominique Jackson. Later, he appeared as a strong Hispanic man, Danny Trejo, while he was engaging in some tough negotiations. Now, I think that's actually kind of funny, because if I was going to do the tough negotiations, I would have done the Crispin Glover or the Dominique Jackson version. Because I'll be honest with you, while I did enjoy Danny Trejo as Mr. World, he wasn't the tough Danny Trejo that we've come to expect. He was actually more of a paternal Danny Trejo than he was or paternal Mr. World than what he was as a, this tough, no nonsense like character that would take you out in a minute's notice. Like, I mean, he didn't feel as tough. This version of Danny Trejo didn't. He felt more laid back than, let's say, a Dominique Jackson version, or even a Crispin Glover's version. Crispin Glover's version, you never know what he's capable of. Like, he just is violent in a lot of different ways, and just has this eerie tone about him, where, you don't know if he's going to, take out somebody at any time. And you could, I guess, say the same thing about Dominique Jackson, who actually did kind of get violent on screen. So, I mean, we have seen some new faces of him that is, I don't know, I felt like when they use that word Danny Trejo in the tough negotiation aspect, I'm like, if I was Mr. World and this was the reality that we were in, I would have picked maybe one of the other two than a Danny Trejo. But anyways, I digress. Let me see where we're at. While this shape-shifting hint at powerful Mr. World was, it was also a subtle clue as to his true nature. Yet this was nothing compared to the hints Mr. World teased as he captured the New God Technical Boy intending to use him as a living battery to power Shard. Mr. World revealed that Technical Boy, rather than being the new god of technology, was actually a bridge between the old gods and the new gods, the embodiment of human innovation, without whom progress was impossible. After capturing Technical Boy, Mr. World would then go on to say some particularly telling lines. People say this is an age of technology. They're wrong. This is an age of manipulation. He then added, as Technical Boy demanded to know who he was, "Trickery is what I do best," before leaving the room whistling a happy tune. Trickery is what I do best. Trickery is what I do best. Now, you don't have to be a huge on Norse mythology to know who maybe the trickster god actually is, and who they are hinting at in this regard. Now, this, of course, to book readers is very clear. They know who it is because in the books it's Loki. But you know, in the series they've diverged so much from what the books, were, that I think a lot of us kind of thought, you know what, it could be someone completely and totally different. They could, and it still could be. Probably not. If I had to guess, I would probably say this is the one point that they actually are going to go right straight for what the books are, because why not? It's already wrote. There's really no reason to diverge on this one thing, not unless you just want to completely and totally throw book readers and from series readers off, which would be kind of an interesting turn if you really ask me. I mean, I felt like that was the one bad thing about Game of Thrones, is for seasons book readers knew what was going to happen and they were not really that surprised. And then, of course, the later seasons, everybody was just like, shocked by what went on. But I felt like it kind of took away from the experience a little bit, knowing what was going on and knowing how things were going to go down. And really, there was the only thing that was left during that time was for us book readers of that to go, you know what? Maybe they'll do something different. Because they did change some things, but at the end of the day, they went by what the books told them to do. I'll be honest with you, I think it's an intriguing thing to think that they might do something different with Crispin Glover's Mr. World. But at the same time, I'm like, if they were doing that, then why would they have given the hint about, about trickery is what I do best? Why do that? If that's what your actual intention is. So in that regard, I would say, if I had to bet, I'd say it's probably like a 75 to 80% chance that it's going to be Loki. But then there's that part of me that goes, you know what? This is American Gods that could do something that's completely and totally different. You never know. Like, you never know with this show. That's one thing I love about this show, is it could go in a completely different direction. But I think a lot of people, that whether they were book readers or whatever, I think probably assumed who he was. The only question that I have, that I didn't really in the books, but I have it for the series, is how did he maintain himself as this Mr. World with all these powerful new gods? Because in all respect, these new gods are a lot more powerful than what even some of the older gods are. And so, how did he trick them? Like, I mean, this is a con that has gone on for generations for him to be able to do that very thing. So I'm kind of like, how did he manage to pull it off? It seems far-fetched in that regard to pull off a scheme of that monumental proportions. But at the same time, I'm like, they did it in the books, so why not have it in the series? But it's I didn't question it so much in the books as what I do when I saw it in the series. I was like, whoa, wait a second. If you really, really think about it, it would be really hard for an old god like even the trickster god Loki to just infiltrate that, trick them into believing that he's somebody that he's not, and then not only tricking them to believing that, but then getting them to follow him, where that you can have this battle between him and Odin. Um, that to me seems a little far fetched, but they did it in the book, so why not do it in the series as well? But I hope this doesn't disappoint people. I hope people are thinking, this is kind of a cool little left turn that they're showing on here, that maybe Mr. World isn't who he says he is. But I think we kind of always knew that from the very beginning, that there was more to Mr. World than what he actually showed. But guys, let me know what y'all think down below. If this comes as a shock to y'all, if y'all are just a series, if y'all just watched the series, did y'all not catch on to that? Does this come as a shock to y'all? Let me know what y'all think. I don't think it did to many people. But overall, I did enjoy the season finale in that regard. Big reveal. And I cannot wait till season 4. I know many of y'all are just like that as well. But as always, guys, thanks for watching.